All right, you ready to start graphing some linear equations? Don't worry, this won't be too bad. This is Sister Jensen. I'm going to walk you through how to fill out a t-chart and graph a line. Make your very own t-chart and graph a line. We'll calculate slope as well. All right, to get you started, what's a linear equation with two variables? Well, for starters, a linear equation, when graphed, always makes a straight line, which is a great clue if you start graphing points and it's supposed to be linear and the points are all over the place. Yeah, something's wrong. Examples of linear equations with two variables are this: y equals 3x minus 4, 2x plus 5y equals 10, y equals negative 1 half x plus 1, negative 3x plus y equals negative 4. Just notice each one of these examples has an x and a y, and I mixed it up. The x's and y's can be on the same side of the equal sign or on different sides. It doesn't matter as long as there's both an x and a y. So if I were to give you a value for x, let's say 5, you can substitute that into the equation to find y. So if I put 5 here, that doesn't mean 35, that means 3 times 5, and then take away 4. Well, 3 times 5 is 15, take away 4 is an 11. So that is a very unique answer. So it would be a 5 and 11, which is an ordered pair, 5, 11. And I could also give you a y, and then you can solve it backwards to get the x, or solve it. So if I gave you 11 and you needed to solve for x, you would add 4 and then divide by 3, and you'd get that 5. Okay. So let's go ahead and start. Pretty much that's what you're doing when they give you what they're calling a table. It's just a t-chart. And I'm also going to have you graph it. So the equation is the y equals 3x minus 4. And in your assignment, they're just going to give you some random values for x and y in a t-chart, and we're going to need to fill it in. In order to fill it in, you will need to solve this equation 4 different times if they gave you 4 different numbers to put in. So each time you will only use one of the numbers. So yeah, it has some work to do. So the first number they gave you is an x because it's in the x column and it's 2. So in your equation where the x is, that's where you'll substitute 2. And then you're going to solve for y. So 6 minus 4 is 2. So now you have a unique value for what corresponds to the x's 2. Y just happens to be 2 also. The next place in our t-chart is the 0. And it's under the y. So when we plug it into the equation, that 0 has to go where the y is. So we put the 0 here, and now we solve for x. And this is 3 times x minus 4. So we do the opposite. So we're going to add 4 and divide by 3. And yes, please leave it as an improper fraction in reduced form. And it goes right there for x. So when x is 4/3, y is 0. Looks like we have another y, a 1. Let's see how that goes. So when y is 1, again I'm going to add 4, then I'm going to divide by 3, and I get 5/3. Fine, these are weird answers, but that's okay. We don't have to write 1.666666666. All right, we just have to write the fraction. Our next value is a 0 for x. I love it when we substitute 0 for x. 3 times 0 is 0. So y equals negative 4. Now that we've filled in this t-chart, or what they're calling a table, we have very distinct ordered or we can make ordered pairs from it, because what I could do is in my mind I put parentheses around them. So I have 2 comma 2, 4/3 comma 0, 5/3 comma 1. And it's your choice if you want to write ordered pairs down, or if you just look at this and go, oh, that's 2 comma 2. What that means is when you graph it, we're going to go, that's a positive and a positive, so that's right and up. So starting at the origin, I go right to, up to, and put a dot. Now, this graph paper is on the instructor notes and discussion page. You just need to download it, and I think there's 4 to a page, if I remember correctly. And you can practice problems on there, print off as many as you'd like. The next point is 4/3 comma 0. Don't get worried. Graphing is really estimation. 4/3 is really 1 and 1/3. So I'm going to go over 1 and 1/3 and then up 0. That's close enough. The next ordered pair is 5/3 comma 1. That's 1 and 2/3. So I'm going to go over 1 and what appears to be 2/3 and up 1. Last one is 0, negative 4. 0 down to negative 4. And then we connect the dots. All right, and they did line up to make a straight line. Use a ruler when you connect your dots. You'll feel so good. You're like, yes, they line up. I'm awesome. The other cool thing is anytime the line crosses, I shouldn't say anytime, I should say when the line crosses the y-axis, we call that a y-intercept. Interception! That's right, class. Just like in football, when a ball gets interception, something happens. Either it's good because your team intercepted or it's bad. But when a line crosses the y-axis, it's where it intercepts it. It crosses it. And we do talk about interceptions with the y-axis, which in this case is 0, -4. And with the x-axis, interception right there at, where did it cross the x-axis? 4/3, 0. All right, food for thought. Now, this is your chance. I want you to practice filling out the table or the T-chart all on your own and graph it. I know you have some graph paper there. And then turn the video back on and we'll check to see how you did. All right, see you in a minute. Welcome back to seeing how you did. All right, so your substitution, you had to substitute an x for 0. Love 2 times 0 because it goes away. 5 times y equals 2. All right, now we put 0 in for y. 5 times 0 goes away, and I have 2 times what is 10? 2 times 5 is 10. Oh my gosh, we actually have to do work this time. I have to put a -2 in for what? For y. So 5 times -2 is -10. The opposite of subtracting 10 is to add 10. 2 times what is 20? That would be 10. So we have 10 -2. Last one. Oh gosh, more work. -5. So I put my -5 in for x, and 2 times -5 is -10. Oh, that's funny. That's the same thing. The opposite of a -10 is to add 10. So 5 times what is 20? Well, divide by 5 and you get 4. So now we can list our ordered pairs. And again, in your mind, you could probably just see, oh, that's 5, 0. Or you can write parentheses 5, 0. So you can graph them. Hopefully your graph looked like this, over 0 up to interception right there across the y-axis. I know, it is exciting. Math is exciting. You guys are missing out if you didn't think math was exciting. Next one is 5, 0. So I'm going to start at the origin and go right 5, up 0. Interception 2 in a row. This one's on the x-axis. The next point is 10, -2. So it's right 10. So we're going to go a little bit past so we can get to where 10 would be. And then down because it's negative to -2. And then I have -5, 4. Since the x is negative, that means left. So I go left 5, and the y is positive. I go up 4. Take your ruler out, connect those dots, and you did it. All right. The next type of directions we'll see in the assignment is to graph a line by making a T-chart. And you get to make your very own T-chart. So, strategy is the best policy here. When you get to pick your own numbers to graph, please pick numbers that are easy to use. Why make it harder than you have to? These are the numbers I pick. My T-chart, I'll pick 3 numbers, and I'm going to give them all to x because I don't want to skip around. These are my all-time favorite numbers, -1, 0, and 1. Why? Because I know how to multiply by 1 and I know how to multiply by 0. Bam! Yep, I know. Obviously now my math skills are pretty advanced if those are my favorite multiplication problems. But just do it. If you put in y equals -2 times -1 plus 4, so we'll substitute our first x. -2 times -1 gives me +2. 2 plus 4, 6. Let's do it again with a 0. Put in 0 right here. I love this one because I know how to multiply by 0. So -2 times 0 is 0, so y equals 4. It's like, I don't even have to do work. That's why I picked these numbers. Plug in a 1. -2 times 1 is -2. Positive times a negative. Plus 4 is 2. That's how I'm going to get my ordered pairs. Nice and easy. Please do not make this harder than you have to. If you end up with a fraction as the number next to x, and that's actually the slope of the line, you could pick a number that would cancel out the denominator. I just strategize. I totally strategize. We can talk about that later. Let's graph it. Let's see if we did it right. -1, 6. So I start at the origin. I go back 1, and it's +6, so up 6. Over 0, up 4. I go over 0, up 4. Interception right there at 0, 4. I know it crosses the y-axis there. And I go over 1, up 2. So that's right 1 and +2. And connect your dots. Ta-da! All right, your turn. Hey, you get to make your very own T-chart, and then I want you to graph it. So pause me now, and I'll talk to you soon. Let's see how you do. Now, that's your back. Did you pick easy numbers, or did you pick like -50 and 3.7520? I mean, they're valid numbers. You could totally pick those. They just make your math work a lot harder. But I'm going to assume you picked easy numbers. So -3 times -1 is +3. So we subtract 3 and we get -7. Plug in 0. I love 0. -3 times 0 is 0. So y equals -4. Can't go any further than that. And now +1. -3 times 1 is -3. That's a -3. To get rid of it, I have to add. So y equals -1. So these are distinct ordered pairs. And notice they make a pattern. It's going up 3, up 3. Okay, here we go. Let's graph them. So it's -1, -7. So I have to go left 1, down 7 because they're both negatives. Next one is 0, -4. So I go over 0, -4. Interception! Right down at -4. Yeah, I want to hear you say that every time you have an interception. This was a y-axis interception. Now we have +1 and then down 1, -1. Connect your dots. Ah, isn't that nice? Well, my line's pretty close. Use a ruler. All right, so I hope you had the same line, so you're doing good. Now let's talk about slope. Slope is very important to lines because it tells you how steep the line is. It's a ratio of rise over run, or vertical change to horizontal change. Ratio is another word for fraction. Oh, I love fractions when it is slope. I really do. Slope is as cool as a fraction. You'll learn to like fraction slopes. They're awesome. We call the steepness of the line slope. So how steep is the line? And here's your vertical change divided by your horizontal change. So if it's going up a lot and across a little, that's a pretty steep line. But if it's going up a little and across a lot, it's not a steep line. Okay. So the larger this ends up being, the steeper the line. And of course, the smaller it is, the flatter the line. So just think of hiking. If you're hiking up and it's a steep hike, we've got quite the incline, it's hard. But if I have a small number and it's very low incline, we're like, oh, I could do this all day. It's pretty flat. So let's take a look at this. This is a slope of 3/5. All right. I think that would be a pretty good workout. I definitely could feel my quads just really burning just going up this line. But what if I raise that to a 1? That means up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. That just stepped it up a little. And what if it was a 2? Oh my gosh, there better be something to pull me up this. If I was trying to climb up this, I'd be like, oh, this is so hard. So again, the larger the number, the steeper the line. A line with the positive slope rises from left to right. And so this is information you need to know. We read graphs from left to right. So if I'm coming along, oh, hey, there's a line, and I go up from left to right. So it has a positive slope. Hence, a line with a negative slope falls from left to right. So I'm like, oh, hey, here's a line. There we go. So that's going to be a negative slope. How about a line with a 0 slope? This is where you could probably take your grandma on a hike because, oh, nothing against grandmas, I happen to be one. But this would be pretty easy right there, just walking straight along, no incline. Okay, I'm a really young grandma, quit thinking that. All right, and how about this vertical line? Yeah, I wanted to show you this because a vertical line is what we call undefined. And let's just talk about this. If you are trying to walk with your feet on the line and your head over here and you're trying to walk up this, you're pretty much going to fall and crack your head open, which would make you undefined. All right, my middle school students think that's funny. They're like, oh, that's really funny. So, yeah, there you go, undefined. There is a formula for slope. The formula is based off having 2 ordered pairs from a line. Now, they're not going to tell you this, but whatever ordered pair they give you first, we're going to generically call it x comma y. But we're going to call it x sub 1, y sub 1 because it's the first x and the first y. So the second ordered pair they give you, we're going to generically call it x sub 2, y sub 2 because it's the second x and the second y. All right. Slope is represented by the letter m, or the variable m. And everyone asks me, why is it the letter M? Why isn't it the letter S? Well, because people with bad handwriting, the S looks like a number 5, and that I would fall into that category. The other thing is M could be representing mountain. You know, hey, mountains are steep. I always thought of it as if you're skiing down a slope and it's really steep, we're talking like Black Diamond Land, you're going to be going, Mom! And that starts with an M. No, I have no idea why it's letter M. That's just all I got. But this is the formula. You can go ahead and write it down. M equals we're going to take the second y they give us and subtract the first y. So we'll take the y from here and subtract the y from there. Divided by, or it'll just be a fraction, the second x, take away the first x. I'm going to take this one and subtract that one. All right. Slope is always written as a whole number, like 5, or a fraction, 1/5, or 20/19. Never write slope as a decimal or mixed number. So if the fraction ended up being 20/19, do not tell me it's 1 and 1/19. No, 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 no. It's 20/19, and never give it as a decimal. Tip of the day, tip of the day. Okay, so we're going to practice. Here's our formula, and we're going to do it. We're going to find the slope of a line passing through these points, -2, 4, and 3, 6. We want to know how steep the line is. Again, the bigger the number, we know, oh, wow, I don't know if I want to go work out on that line. That line looks really tough. So we have to subtract our y's. The first ordered pair is -2, 4. So that means x sub 1 is -2, y sub 1 is 4. The first x, the first y. Our second ordered pair is 3, 6. Yeah, I'm going to go through the first examples pretty concisely. So x sub 2 is 3 and y sub 2 is 6 because it's the second x and the second y. All right, we're going to put those values in the equation. So I'm going to have m equals, what is going to go right here for y sub 2? Oh, that's 6. So I'm going to put 6 here. Take away y sub 1. Which number is y sub 1? 4. Now we're going to put a bar. X sub 2. Where's my x sub 2? Oh, it's 3. It's right there. Take away x sub 1. What's my x sub 1? -2. Okay, you got that? Now we're going to solve each part individually. The numerator and the denominator. 6 take away 4 is 2. So my numerator is 2. 3 take away -2 is keep, change, opposite. That's really 3 plus 2, which is 5. 2/5. That is your answer. 2/5. Do not tell me 0.4. Oh my gosh, we already talked about that. This means the slope of the line passes through or passing through these 2 points. So there's some line in the world, it goes right through these points, is 2/5. The slope is positive. That means it's going up 2 spaces, then right 5 spaces, up 2, right 2, up 2, right 2. Because this is the vertical change over the horizontal change. I'm going up 2, but over 5. So it's not that steep of a line. I'm pretty sure we would do okay if this was going on a hike today. We're going to work out on that line. Let's go that way. 2/5, we got that. Let's try it again. All right, we'll do another one together. We're going to find the slope of a line passing through the points 1, 1, and 3, -2. I'm going to take out some of the steps this time. So x sub 1 and y sub 1. Those are my first x, my first y. X sub 2, y sub 2. My second x, my second y. Are you ready to substitute? Here we go. Y sub 2 is -2 minus y sub 1. X sub 2 minus x sub 1. It's important that you get those numbers in the correct spot. Now work your integer magic. -2 take away 1. Keep, change, opposite. I think that's -3 to me. I think my numerator came -3. 3 minus 1 is 2. So I have -3 divided by 2, which is -3/2. Do not tell me that's -1 1/2. Oh no. All right. What this means, m equals -3/2. This means that a slope of the line passing through these 2 ordered pairs is -3/2. The slope is a negative number, so the line goes down 3, then right 2. Ooh, this one's really going down. This is like if you're jogging back down the mountain, you're like, oh my gosh, this is really tough. Hopefully there's not a lot of rocks because you're going to go fast. All right, we're going to do another one. Find the slope of a line passing through the points 5, -4 and 5, 6. I don't think I need to tell you this is x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Let's just go ahead and plug it in. So we have y sub 2 minus y sub 1. So 6 take away -4. So keep, change, opposite. So I have 10. And then I have x sub 2 minus x sub 1. 5 minus 5 is 0. All right, 10 over 0. All right, let's check this one out. Find the slope of a line passing through these points, 8, -3 and 1, -3. All right, let's do our y's first. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1. -3, take away -3. -3, take away, that's 0. And then y sub 2 minus y sub 1, 1, take away 8 is -7. 0 over -7. Do you guys know what this slope means? I'm going to go up 10 but right 0. I'm going to go up 0 and down or left 7? What kind of line? What is going on here? We're going to talk about these special slopes, okay? So if you get crazy answers with the 0 in them, yeah, these are crazy answers. I'm going to tell you what they mean, or at least we're going to figure it out. So we have a slope of 10 over 0 and a slope of negative 0 over 7. By the way, it doesn't matter where the negative goes, if it's in the numerator or the denominator, because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. One of these slopes is for a horizontal line, because when you divide, the answer is 0. Oh, one of these is horizontal. I wonder which one. The other is for a vertical line, because if you try to divide, the answer is undefined. How do you know which one it is? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of you are probably going, I know exactly which one it is. But for the longest time, I would get these mixed up. And then a 6th grade teacher said, well, this is what I do. And it totally makes sense. So I'm going to share it with you. So if I'm calculating a slope and I have some number divided by 0, I'm just going to put the variable n there for that some number. What does that spell? No! Same thing here. If I have a slope and I have a 0 over some number, and again I'm just going to use n as the number, I have the word on. So if I get n over 0, no! You can't divide by 0. The answer is undefined. That means 10 over 0 is undefined and the slope of a vertical line. No, you can't do that. So if you ever get a 0 in your denominator, no! And I really do want you to make weird noises so you'll remember. But if you end up with your 0 in the numerator, right on. Oh, that's good, because 0 divided by any number is 0. That means 0 divided by negative 7 is 0, and it's the slope of a horizontal line. Yeah, it's on. The answer is 0. It doesn't really matter if you have a vertical line or a horizontal line. But I can remember no. That means it's undefined. And on. Okay, I can keep my 0. That's right on. So how do you write the answer? I'm just going back to that same information. It's the exact same problem. We ended up with 10 over 0. What do I write as my answer? If you left it 10 over 0, I would mark it wrong. You need to write the answer is undefined. M equals undefined. Why? Because both of the x's are the same and this is a vertical line. This is what I'll expect. It's undefined. So this is the same problem we saw a minute ago, 0 over negative 7. But you do not leave your answer like this. If you do, I'll go Your answer is m equals 0. Okay, because you do have to simplify this. 0 divided by any number is 0. And notice that both of the y's are the same. Tip of the day. So we've talked a lot about slope, and we've calculated a lot of problems with slope together. Now I want you to do them on your own. So here are 5 problems to practice, and if you only do the first 2, I'll do the first 3. But I want you to find the slope that passes through each pair of points. The first point, the second point, the first point, the second point. And as a reminder, slope should be a whole number or fraction simplest form. So after you figure out the 5, or as many as you're going to do, turn this video back on and we are going to celebrate your answers. All right, you're back. You're ready to celebrate your answers. Come on. Bum, bum, bum. Calculate your slope. Here we go. So the first one, change of y, subtract, change of x. I ended up with 1 divided by 1. Do not leave that 1 divided by 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Nice job, and it was positive. Okay, number 2. So you subtract your y's. 5 take away 2, and 5 take away negative 1 is 6. If you left it as 3 over 6, ooh, I'd only give you half credit because that needs to be reduced to 1/2. 1/2. All right, are you 2 for 2? I hope so. All right, next one, number 3. Here we go. I have 4 take away 4 is 0, and negative 2 take away 10 is negative 10. I have 0 over negative 10, which is 0 because it's on. Yeah, that's a horizontal line. Yeah, I know. You were excited too when you found that out, huh? Okay, number 4. I have 3 take away negative 2 is 5, and negative 6 take away 0 is negative 6. Now, a positive divided by a negative is going to be negative. So it doesn't matter where the negative sign is. Once you find out it's 5 over negative 6, we just say it's negative 5/6. That's the slope. Just put the sign off to the side, just as a, proper format. You just put the sign off to the side. It's negative 5/6. Okay. And our last one, number 5. How did you do on number 5? 9 take away negative 2 is 11, and 6 take away negative 6 is 0. Ooh, a number divided by 0. No, it's undefined. Well, I hope you had 5 celebrations there and nothing got past you. Keep on working on your slope and your linear equations, because when we go through next week, you're going to be writing equations of lines. And it's going to be great fun, but you have to know how to calculate slope before you can go to next week. So please make sure you know how to do this. All right, have fun. Email me if you have any questions.